Early in the morning, Paul returned to Linda's old house. He walked slowly through the bamboo gate with broken hinges, his eyes scanning the area as if looking for something. But Linda had already left. She hid in the backyard, holding her breath, watching from afar. Paul quietly sat on the old wooden bench on the porch, took a drag of his cigarette, then stood up and left. Linda let out a relieved sigh, though worry still lingered in her chest. Who pickles food bags here? Wait a minute to see if it comes back. This must be Jack's gift or something. Next time I go up, I smell drinking alcohol. You think you can get up? I can't get up. As soon as he left, Linda rushed back inside, gathered the few remaining items, and drove her small vehicle to the new house Jack had just finished. There is one. Now there's Jack. The way ahead of everything to do something new for me. If not, I saw this again today. The winding dirt road was lined with whispering bamboo. Once there, Linda didn't rest but got straight to her familiar task, weaving fish traps. She chose a spot on the porch, grabbed slender bamboo strips, and skillfully wove them into neat circles. Each time she weaved, memories of the old tent returned, simple meals, but full of warmth. When the trap was finished, she tied its mouth securely and brought it to the nearby stream, picking a gentle current spot to set the trap. She hid it cleverly under thick grass by the bank. Sunlight sparkled on the water, the stream babbled, and birds sang a living painting. Linda sat by the stream, washed her hands in the cool water, and smiled, starting a peaceful new day. Really, really. The next morning, at the architecture office of Jack's company, Uncle James, Jack's close uncle and chief engineer, was deeply focused at his design desk. Thick stacks of blueprints for ongoing projects were spread across the surface. Thick stacks of blueprints for ongoing projects were spread across the surface. Sunlight streamed through the window, highlighting the streaks of gray in his hair and adding to the concentrated atmosphere. He was planning the construction of a cultural center and affordable housing complex, a project Jack had been passionate about for months. How is the project on the other side? The door swung open, and Hong entered with a bright smile. Uncle James looked up and teased, "Why didn't Jack come with you? Don't tell me he's run off with some young lady again." For years people toilet area. Hong laughed, poured a cup of hot tea for Uncle James, and sat down. Jack's been busy taking care of Linda and their new home lately. This stone, I wouldn't dare disturb him. Besides, I think he wants to spend every private moment with her. This graphic takes a little more. Very beautiful color. James nodded, his eyes both serious and warm. I know he truly loves Linda. I just hope everything goes smoothly so neither of them will have any regrets. That you find strange? Why don't you build a house like this for the people? What to do up there? In the forest, on the mountain like that. Miss Linda. James nodded, his eyes both serious and warm. I know he truly loves Linda. I just hope everything goes smoothly so neither of them will have any regrets. The afternoon light filtered through the treetops, casting a golden glow across the yard. Linda bent down, diligently digging up the thick weeds. The soil was still hard, but she patiently struck with her hoe, pulling up clumps of grass with steady hands. She planned to grow vegetables, flowers, and some herbs just like at the old hut. This new garden was larger but still uncultivated, with many roots left in the soil. Sweat dripped from her brow, and her hands were covered in dirt, yet her heart felt at peace. Each time she glanced at the porch where Jack had once installed a small trellis for her, warmth filled her chest. She whispered to herself, "This may be a new place, but it will become a true home. Every plant, every row of greens will carry the love we share." Early in the morning, as the sun rose over the distant hills, yesterday, Jack and his assistant Hong arrived at the new construction site, a 5-hectare plot on the city's outskirts. Once an abandoned field overrun with waist-high weeds, today it buzzed with the roar of bulldozers and workers leveling the ground. Jack stood atop a small mound, holding a large printed blueprint, his eyes filled with determination. There is not enough land here. It's over in a week. I hoped it would be quick but couldn't do it. It's been raining for a few days now and I have to find a solution. This will be an international standard synthetic football field, he told Hone. Not just hourly rentals, there'll be community tournaments and a youth training academy. We're starting here. The project, funded with millions of dollars from a major European sports group, was entirely driven by Jack. His negotiations, his design, his vision. He knew, if it succeeded, it would become the flagship project launching his company into the sports sector, a new but promising frontier. It's raining now. Hone couldn't hide his surprise. You really plan to turn this into a sports complex? Jack nodded. Not just sports. I want to integrate a community space, grass-side cafes, housing for athletes, and if you notice, the backlot could be zoned for service housing. Jack nodded. Not just sports. I want to integrate a community space, grass-side cafes, housing for athletes, and if you notice, the backlot could be zoned for service housing. He's fixing the drawings. I have to. This area needs more gravel reinforcement, he pointed. Or it'll flood during the rainy season. The workers looked at him with respect. They didn't just see a boss, they saw a man rolling up his sleeves, standing under the harsh sun, supervising every step. You don't have to do everything, Hong said. We've got a solid team. Jack only smiled, still gazing toward the western end of the land. On the way back from the construction site, Jack took out his phone and dialed Linda's number. His voice was gentle over the line. I'm about to stop by your place. Do you need anything? Vegetables, fruits, or some of those little things you tend to forget? On the other end, Linda's soft laughter came through just enough to ease the tension from Jack's face after a long, exhausting day. It was a short call, but it made his steps feel lighter on the road home. Hello, this is me. Are you a gardener? Are you a gardener? Do you look like a tree? I'll buy the seeds for you later. You called the game. When it's done, watch the weather. If it rains, let the workers come to work. Avoid the condition of being slow progress. Just look at it like I said. You have a job. In the late afternoon, after leaving the construction site, Jack rode his Honda Winner X150 through winding mountain roads. Cool wind slipped through his shirt, and red dust clung to the hems of his pants, but he didn't care. Inside, Jack felt a quiet joy, as if he were on his way home to the place dearest to his heart. Along the way, he stopped by a small roadside grocery store. It was a humble shop with a tiled roof, and outside hung bags of snacks, boxes of instant noodles, and bundles of vegetables strung upside down. Jack parked his bike and stepped inside. The elderly shopkeeper gave him a respectful nod, while an old woman nearby was picking mung beans from a bamboo basket. ACC walked slowly along the wooden shelves, carefully selecting seed packets, green mustard, carrots, amaranth, pumpkins, and a few other plants Linda had once mentioned. He also picked up some garden twine, gloves, and organic fertilizer. The shop owner looked at him with a knowing smile. "Starting a whole garden, huh?" Jack nodded, smiling softly. "Not for mitts, for someone special." Leaving the shop, Jack neatly tied the bags to the back of his bike and started the engine. The sun was now nearly touching the horizon, casting a warm red hue over the sky. He turned down the narrow path that led to Linda's cottage, familiar terrain. Yet today it felt strangely thrilling. As the sun had just risen above the distant mountains, Linda was already awake. With a bamboo basket in hand, she quietly stepped across the small stream behind the house. Last night, she had set several handmade fish traps in the gentle waters woven from rattan and young bamboo with careful knots and folds. Crafted by her own hands. Each step soaked her feet in morning dew, but she didn't mind. Her heart fluttered like a child, waiting for a gift. When she opened the first trap, her eyes lit up. Bat, wriggling tilapia splashed inside. It seemed the heavy flow of water from the night before had drawn more fish than usual. Linda collected each trap, her hands cold and wet, yet her smile never faded. As she returned home with a heavy basket of fish, the sunlight had just begun pouring into the cottage. Jack was watering the newly planted vegetable beds. Seeing Linda, he ran over, eyes wide at the sight of the catch. "Wow, looks like you caught the whole morning market," he teased. Linda grinned and set the basket down. "Didn't catch trapped. And they came willingly, you know." "How are you going to cook this?" "I'm going to cook. So let me go." After a few laughs, the two got to work preparing lunch. Linda cleaned the fish while Jack lit a fire in the yard. They placed a grill over glowing embers and laid the salted, lemongrass-marinated tilapia on top. The fragrant aroma rose into the air, weaving through the bamboo grove, drawing curious chickens to the scene. Go. Are both cats. They sat facing each other by the fire, fanning the flames, turning the fish, their eyes never straying from one another. Jack added wild vegetables, the small eggplants Linda had picked earlier, and made a dipping sauce with lime and garlic just like his mother taught him as a boy. As the fish turned golden and crispy, the skin crackling as fat dripped onto the coals, Linda transferred them onto a ceramic plate, sprinkling fried shallots she had prepared the night before. End of dot. It's over. This is the beach you just picked up this morning. I can do a lot alone. While we wait for the fish to ripen, or you and me. When finished, it is also ripe. Police. Right here, bin. While waiting for the fish to cook, Jack pulled out the bag of seeds he had bought the day before and joined Linda behind the house. The soil had already been loosened that morning when Linda watered it. The two knelt on the ground, one hand holding a small hoe, the other scattering seeds of green mustard, lettuce, and carrots into neat rows. Linda explained how to space the lines evenly, while Jack occasionally played with the seeds, trying to draw funny shapes in the dirt with his fingertip. Now I have left part of the way. I made the road from here, across the bridge. Back to me again. Waiting for you in. When the last handful of soil was patted down, they sat together, gazing at the freshly planted garden. Linda smiled and said, "Let's hope there won't be heavy rain this season. I want to pick homegrown veggies and cook them for you." Jack didn't answer with words, just a soft, tender look. Then he took her hand and gently led her back toward the kitchen. They ate together on the porch, the fish fragrant, this water the is rice also warm, boiling, their voices soft like wind rustling through leaves. Jack shared stories from the construction site, and Linda told him about the sparrows nesting on their cottage roof. They listened, unhurried, unburdened. Each bite of fish was like a piece of shared memory, making this simple forest lunch deeply fulfilling. The fish is delicious. This you left. I left it here.